Great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sophia, and today I am excited to share my thesis work with you all, exploring perinatal mental health. This project was conceived out of a desire to understand how design can facilitate the creation of pathways to empower perinatal individuals in the transition to parenthood while supporting their mental health. I'd like to begin by sharing a quote from a mother that I interviewed. She described navigating mental health as a new parent as a nightmare. She shared it can be a lonely and terrifying experience, like walking through the forest in the dark. And often, there are so many lights around, but you don't know that they're just out of reach because continuity of care and systems collaboration is very low. This metaphor reflects the reality that many parents in the United States will experience. Up to 85% of perinatal individuals in the US experience some type of mood disturbance in the postpartum period, which is the 1 year after birth. This is often known as the baby blues, and it usually resolves itself within 2 weeks' time without treatment. However, up to 1 in 5 perinatal individuals will experience more severe symptoms of a perinatal mental health condition within that first year. In the United States, 4 million births occur yearly, meaning that up to 800,000 people will experience a perinatal mental health condition each year. Collectively, this group of conditions is known as PMADs, which stands for perinatal or postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. Compounding the problem, most perinatal individuals who experience a postpartum mood disorder go undiagnosed or do not receive adequate treatment, despite these disorders being highly treatable. Left untreated, perinatal mental health conditions can lead to serious long-term health complications for both the parent, the child, as well as impacting the well-being of the larger family unit. Social design has the potential to deepen the impact of existing interventions in the ecosystem and bring together stakeholders across these levels, from the individual, interpersonal, organizational, community, and policy levels, and to create new innovations that support perinatal individuals and families. Based on my initial exploration, I formed the hypothesis that in order to address perinatal mental health effectively, we need to develop pathways that engage perinatal individuals and their support systems through collaborative clinical and social tools. With this in mind, I set out to answer the following. How might we co-create tools with perinatal individuals and providers that engage perinatal individuals and their social connections and empower them to navigate the transition to parenthood while supporting their mental health? Guided by this question, I set out to learn as much as possible about perinatal mental health while looking for a partner to collaborate with on this work. In October 2022, I connected with Dr. Thomas Mackey and Anna Schaefer, health systems researchers at SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University School of Public Health. They've been conducting a community engagement and research project called Charting the Course for patient-centered research to address inequities in perinatal mental health and maternal mortality. Through my partnership, I've had the opportunity to support their project, which I provide more detail on in my process book. Working with my partner on this engagement project has been an incredible opportunity to learn from experts in the field of perinatal mental health with diverse skill sets and experiences across the ecosystem, including the 3 universities listed there, as well as Postpartum Support International, which is a leading nonprofit. Additionally, I had the opportunity to work with parents who have lived expertise of a perinatal mental health condition. Through meetings with project leadership, advisory council sessions, and my own primary and secondary research, I began to see patterns in the gaps across the perinatal mental health experience. Based on some of the insights and opportunities that began to emerge, I developed a second work stream for my thesis work where I began brainstorming how social design could address some of these opportunities. Through a series of prototyping, feedback, and iteration activities, I worked through a series of concepts to present back to the community for further development and refinement, ultimately leading to my final thesis intervention. Once I developed these initial prototypes, I shared them with my community partner, and we discussed which ones seemed most promising and feasible given the thesis timeline, partner capacity, and opportunities for impact. Ultimately, we felt that prototype number 3, the Love Mom postcard campaign, was the most interesting from a social perspective and the most feasible at scale. We moved into a series of co-design workshops that I led virtually over the course of a month with a group of Postpartum Support International staff and volunteers, all of whom are parents and many of whom are also survivors of a perinatal mental health condition. In our first workshop, we spent time introducing the project and prototyping the experience of writing a postcard, with parents responding to the prompt, What is a message that you would want to share with someone who is navigating the transition to parenthood and trying to support their mental health? Reflecting on the experience of writing one of these postcards, participants shared that receiving a postcard like this as a new parent would have been really helpful. Quote, "I think it would have been really great to get a postcard like this as a new parent and then have the ability to write back and forth with the same person more than once. I think it might be helpful. It's nice to get a heartwarming message, but it's even cooler to have a community built around it." Reflecting on the tone of the postcard, one parent said, "I didn't want to be all positive because it's not. It's hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done." This led to a discussion about how we can create space for the range of emotions that a new parent might be experiencing in this transition and to normalize them through this initiative. The purpose of our second session was to think through key audiences for the postcard initiative. This quote reflects the challenge of designing an initiative to support new parents. No two experiences of parenthood or mental health are the same. With this in mind, we discussed different scenarios for the postcards and how they might work as individual concepts or as a series of offerings. We established that any solution would need to be flexible to accommodate a range of needs, and we tested out different ways to opt into these scenarios during our third session. And in our fourth and final workshop, we dove deeper into the language used in the initiative, discussed the visual identity of the project, and considered next steps for bringing all of the work together. After the workshops, I spent some time synthesizing all of the learnings from each of the workshops and came up with the following design principles that should guide the final intervention. It should foster connection through conversation. It should ensure that the format is approachable and digestible, especially given how busy parents are and how overwhelmed they might be. We should design for offline experiences where possible, allow for flexibility and modularity within the system, leverage existing systems such as the great work being done by PSI and refer to what is already working, use intentional and inclusive language, amplify parents' voices, and lastly, spread awareness and drive towards action. And with that, I'm excited to introduce to you my thesis intervention, which is PEP Talks. PEP Talks stands for Perinatal Engagement Pathways, Tools to Amplify Lived Knowledge Sharing, and it reimagines what it means to care for perinatal individuals' mental health in the transition to parenthood. PEP Talks is a community platform that offers tools and resources to improve access to perinatal mental health care by connecting individuals and families to the support that they need. The PEP Talks acronym is a nod to the supportive energy underpinning this project towards improving perinatal mental health support for individuals and families by uplifting the voices of those with lived expertise. The first service provided by PEP Talks is PEP Talks Post, a series of postcard engagements designed to leverage the power of writing, connection, and collective storytelling to increase discussion around perinatal mental health and provide parents with clear pathways to connect with additional support. There are several ways to engage with PEP Talks Post. The first offering is an anonymous forum for sharing postcards that serves as a place for that collective storytelling about perinatal mental health, allowing parents to read other stories and to submit their own experience of navigating mental health if they choose. The second offering, PEP Talk Pen Pals, is a physical postcard exchange between a parent with lived expertise of a perinatal mental health condition and a new parent over an agreed-upon period of time, designed to foster connection between parents who have that experience and new parents who are going through the transition. And the third offering is a postcard kit for personal reflection and interpersonal connection. Parents receive a kit with prompts for personal reflection as a way to facilitate discussion about their mental health with their social connection, including family, friends, and their care providers. The beauty of this system is that it allows parents to engage how they want to, with one element alone or as a series of supportive offerings. As I move forward, I'll be looking for opportunities to conduct a pilot of the anonymous postcards and the PEP Talks Pen Pal exchange with a local postpartum support group, such as one of the Postpartum Support International local chapters. I'll also consider how we continue to build out features on the platform that facilitate connection between perinatal individuals and their social support networks. Lastly, my hope for this work is to contribute to the long overdue national dialogue about perinatal mental health. What if instead of the transition to parenthood being a nightmare, we collectively dreamt of a future in which we as a society hold new parents with as much care as they hold their own children? Thank you.